Live on. You're live. I'm live. I'm living. I'm alive. Here on this one. Hi, you. I'm looking at you. You are Facebook. Hi, I'm looking at you. You are YouTube. Let me turn that a little bit here. Adjust that so it's a little bit better. So let's make sure anyone who sees me, I'm going to do you see and hear me? Question mark. Where's the question mark? There you go. Boop. That's me. And then I'm going to go to this one to make sure top chat, all live chat. Welcome. So this is your QRA or your live event. This is Jason Eagle. I'm your QRA practitioner. I am your natural health authority for strategic healing. And looks like I've got one eye. It says one person is watching me here on Facebook. Hi. And then I don't see. Oh, it looks like I have one person here on YouTube's. So this is our August 18th. Now I've got two people. I had one person going. I'm gonna watch this. So if anyone sees me, it looks like I've got a love there. Ann Wilbur. Hey, Ann Wilbur's here on Facebook. If anyone can YouTube, basically say that you see me, go ahead and send me just a message that you see and hear me. That'd be great. And then we can start going over questions. Send in your questions. I have some that people sent in before. I have to remember them. Actually, my wife told me, she said, remember you got that question. And I don't remember. I'm sure I'll cover it though when I go over and get talking. You know how I go. So, what is this live QRA? It's literally part of a community, and this is one of the problems that people have with health is it's so complicated, and then it's also very deceiving. It's very deceiving. There's been a lot of deception, and part of the deception is we don't know what health is. We don't know what healthy is, and we hear this and we hear that, and especially in this day and age when we are in the information age, which is 1 week I see that coffee's good, next time I see that coffee's bad, and then they're battling back and forth, and butter's good and butter's bad, and salt is good and salt is bad, and isn't salt bad? My doctor told me that salt were bad. That's heart, blood pressure, all this other stuff. Well, part of it, what you have to do is, even what I have to say, you got to go out and test it. You have to start learning your body and start learning how your body reacts to all of these different things and find out for yourself. Because once you find out for yourself in the way that you feel and in the way that your body reacts, then no one can tell you otherwise. No one can try and trick you. No one can say, because you experience it for yourself. And so, part of this is start experimenting with your body. Start experimenting. And what are the things that we can experiment with? Well, experimenting like an experiment. If I do this, what happens? If I do this, what happens? If I take this out, what happens? If I put this back in, if I add these 2 things, if I add 5 things, if I change the room around, there's all of these different things that you can do to change an experiment. And so one of the very first things that we do all the time, what's the thing that we do most often? I just thought about this, and I'm going to take this in a hierarchy in terms of what is the thing you do most often? Breathing. Breathing. So could I change my life with breathing? Okay. So we do breathing. We do drinking. Probably drink more than we eat. Then we do eating. Okay. Then we do sleeping. Okay. Now, the other thing that goes with breathing is probably what we do more. The thing that goes faster, so is like if you could time your breathing every second or something like that. Thinking. How many, within a breath, you can have trillions of thoughts. So I'm going to change my list, which is the first list is thinking. So it's funny, the things that can have the most effect are the most intangible things. So I can't see the air, but I can breathe it. I can feel air in my lungs. But I can't see the thoughts. And all I can do is tell you what I'm thinking. But at the time I'm telling you I'm thinking, it's gone, it's over. Ann Wilbur said, Mel took black seed oil today, one big slug. He said it made him feel better. And then Amy is there. Okay. I'll answer that question that's about black seed oil. But let me follow this train of thought, which is the things that are the most ethereal or the most weakest are actually the strongest things. So, and you take those things away, those are most important for life. So thinking is the most important thing for life. Ask any person who feels like they're going crazy. Ask any person who gets a song stuck in their head, drive me nuts. Ask any person who is just looking for peace. It's more important than breathing. So we'll get to that in terms of how to experiment with that. So we said we said thinking, then we said breathing, then we said drinking, then we said eating, and then we said sleeping, and then we said, I didn't say it yet, but then we said movement, okay? Exercise, the movement of your body. So each one of these things are the reason I'm saying to experiment with these things is because these are things that we've been told don't do anything, or we've been told that they do the opposite, or we've not been told anything. What I'm saying is, yes, Dan, I do see and hear you. Yes, there we go. And Carol's here. Good, yay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, Dan. I haven't seen anybody on YouTube, so if anybody can respond to me on YouTube, maybe I'm not seeing the comments. I had problems with it last time. So top chat, let's go to top chat. Okay, so let's start with breathing. Let's start with thinking. Since you just think what you think, and you think what you think, but you don't know that you think what you think. So is there experiments that you can do to see if you could change how you think, how it affects things? So what are the things that we want to affect with all of these things? Katie says she's watching me on YouTube, but so good. And that was a text message she sent me. So still not seeing comments on YouTube. Maybe I'm not getting it. Link it. Okay. So thinking, we can do deliberate thoughts. We can literally grab a hold of your mind and like you can, for instance, get a song stuck in your head, you can replace it with another song. So those are one of these things that you can do with thinking experiments is practice thinking music in your head. Get a song that you like. Get even a tune inside your head, okay? So that's one thing we can do is we can kind of direct our thoughts through, like I said, a song. A song is something, I remember when I was a little kid, you're probably and it took me literally probably until I was 20s or 30s that I could do it without the song, which is my ABCs. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Many times I would, rather than go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I would do the song. And I would do the song in my head because it would help me. And I would do that with spelling, and I would do that with thinking, which is I would have to combine A, B, C. As I got older, I was able to then unlink the song away from the alphabet, and now I can kind of think about the alphabet without the song. There are other deliberate thoughts that we can do, which is, so for instance, depression, especially pain in the body that we feel, my shoulder hurts and I'm depressed and blah, blah, blah. And where does it come from? Does the pain come from the depression, or does the depression come from the pain? Well, we can use our mind. So a lot of times depression is depressive thoughts, which is just the awful thoughts. Can you take your mind and literally remember, let's say, a memory? A memory that you had is when you were a kid. Scroll through your little Rolodex and find a memory. Oh, that's that time that we went to Cedar Point. Or that's that time that we went to this island. Or that's the... And relive it. Replay it in your head. Do it while you're sitting at home so you're not, risking going, driving. But eventually get to a point where you can start doing it while you're driving, or start doing it while you're walking, or start doing it while you're sitting in the line at the bank, where you're starting to use deliberate thoughts, which is, do I feel better? Do I feel more energy? Does my posture stand better? You can see people that are depressed, they're like this. But then give them a hint and say, okay, think of a good thought. And then, next thing you know, yeah, you'll see their whole demeanor change. That's a hormone that they're sending out, which is a healing hormone. So thoughts, we can take thoughts. Now we go to breathing. What is breathing? So breathing is just unconscious. You just inhale and exhale. Many times people are shallow breathers and we're chest breathers and we don't fully breathe. And so we start doing some breathing techniques that everybody knows about yoga in terms of doing some breathing training during yoga. But the whole idea of yoga is to get you to start doing it in regular life. So there's a couple breathing techniques. Now this square breathing, I'll tell you about. This is something that special forces guys do when they are in trouble, which is when your heart is panicking and the bombs are going off. You use this breathing technique to calm you down and to literally make it so that you're not bouncing all over the place when you're trying to shoot. But it's also that you don't panic and freak out. And so what it's called is called square breathing, which is essentially it's whether it's a count of 3 or a count of 4, whatever you like. You take, so I'm going to follow the screen. If you see the screen, it kind of goes as a square, right? Okay. And even though it's a rectangle, let's pretend it's a square. It's equal length on each side. So it's the amount of time that it takes to breathe in. So let's say breathing in is up, breathing out is down, and then on either side, on the top and the bottom, is you hold your breath. You hold your breath in, you hold your breath out. And you do equal time for each one of them. So you start with a breath in, you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Or let's do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's doing equal. And at first you start counting with your mouth. But then eventually you start counting in your head. So this one is a breathing and a mental exercise. So you'll start counting in your head. And when people have a hard time falling asleep and their mind is racing like crazy, do your square breathing and count in your head. And if you start to hear other voices like the gossipy voice, I can't believe she said that, or what are we going to have for dinner, or all of these other panic things, use your mind to tell yourself in your mind, shut up. I don't hear you counting like a drill sergeant. I don't hear you counting. That's all I want to hear is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 seconds or 3 or 4 seconds or a count of 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4 to get a breath in. 1, 2, 3 or 4 to hold a breath. 1, 2, 3 or 4 to exhale a breath, and 1, 2, 3 or 4 to hold a breath. It's whatever you desire, whether it's 3 or 4. But it's equal time for each one, okay? That's a way, and then you count in your head, and it gets you to literally calm your heart rate down and calm the thoughts, because if you're doing it correctly, all of the thoughts die away. All of the other thoughts, and all you hear is inside your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can do up, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Okay, see how I close my eyes? It helps you to kind of, so eventually you can get it where you're driving down the highway doing this. You increase your oxidative absorption, you calm your brain waves, all of this other stuff. There's another technique that you can do, which is you can do 10 seconds, literally take a breath in, say like maybe take it like 4 seconds, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, then hold it for like 6 to 10 seconds, then exhale, and then hold it for another. So this one is you have shorter inhales and exhales, but longer holds. And one, you hold it long enough to feel like, oh, I really need a breath. I really need a breath. I really need a breath. So that what it does is it puts you in the gratitude. I'm very gratitude. I really am very, you really appreciate the air when it comes in. It shows you how much you need air. You really miss it. You really feel the loss of it. And then after you have inhaled and then held your breath and then exhaled, right? Then you hold it out for another long time and you hold the breath away. So, or you hold the breath out of and then that also gets you to appreciate how much you store oxygen, how long you can live and feel on just storing it. So it makes you more appreciative of having it. It makes you more appreciative of how strong you are without it, because you can live without breathing. You can hold your breath. And it helps you to kind of really see how much you need this life and how much this life needs you, how much you are a part of it. So what you do is you do a longer inhale, a longer holding of your breath with the hold it in, and then you want to get it out, exhale it, and then hold it out before you take a breath in. This one also, what it does is it makes your air sacs increase in size. It makes you become more efficient in terms of air, in terms of oxygen, carbon dioxide, nitric oxide, all this other stuff. So the reason I bring this up is because these are these things that we can start experimenting with, okay? Now let's move on to the next one, which is water, okay? We drink more than we eat. What can we do? Water's just water. Well, no, there's a lot of different types of waters. There's a lot of different types of waters. We can start with just spring water. Okay, if you're used to drinking regular tap water, switch to some spring water. Okay, if we're used to already drinking spring water, you can switch to distilled water, which has all of the minerals out of it. And if we have, let's say, we have arthritis, we have kidney stones, we have gallstones, we have a lot of scar tissue in our body, or we got deposits on the heart or deposits on the brain or something like that. All these things where you're a hoarder, you have too much excess tissue in the body, and that's what's causing you discomfort or pain or whatever. Drink distilled water because it will then grab these things and pull them out of your body. I won't recommend that people drink distilled water for their whole life because eventually you can rob your body of minerals. But if you have too many minerals, too much tissue, too fat, too much arthritis, too much scar tissue, then the water without minerals will help to grab onto those minerals because the water's hungry for minerals and it will grab it out. Start experimenting with that and see how you feel on different waters. The bubbly water, the spring water, that actually has more minerals in it. So if you tend towards maybe some kidney problems, don't drink the spring water. It's got too many minerals in it. But if you have a tendency towards some other conditions, the spring water can actually be very helpful, where the minerals are good for you. There's also a whole other world of what's called structured water, and that's literally people using natural magnetic fields as well as devices to spin water and spin energy into water. You can put all different types of energy into water, where water can then be turned into, you can make homeopathics into water. Like the Dr. Masaru Emoto, you can put emotions in water. You could put memory in water. You can put prayers in water. You can store water with good energy. And you can structure water yourself just by literally taking a glass of water and praying over it, or sending good thoughts to it, or literally hold the glass in the water and be, go, I love you. If you're trying to drink love, You can put love in water. Now, like I said, the structured water, there's a whole bunch of other devices where they use magnets, where we can spin water. Victor Schauberger, look him up. He has a whole technology on this. Wilhelm Reich. There's John Ellis water, structuring water with shungite, structuring water with all different types of devices. There's a whole world out there of structuring water. But you can simplify it by structuring water yourself. Let me give you an example of, here's an experiment of so can we change things so here's an experiment. It's called the rice experiment. And what you're doing is you're changing the water molecules. And it's the water molecules that you're changing that make this experiment alter. So if people want to think that thoughts matter, or they run an experiment and go, do thoughts matter? Do words matter? Does positive energy or negative energy, does it matter? Does it turn into a material world? Yes, here's an experiment that you can do to prove to yourself. And anybody can do this, and it will prove to you beyond a shadow of a doubt. I recommend that if you got some kids that are doing a science project, have them do this for a science project. I actually had my daughter do one of these as a science that was similar to this, that had growing plants and playing music to plants, and then giving it either regular water or a special mineralized water and playing music to it. Did it change the growth patterns? You bet it did. And I will tell you, heavy metal made the plants sick. And classical, like Mozart, played it 24/7, and this made the same conditions. And the ones that did the best were the plants that had Mozart or I don't remember if it was Mozart or Bach, playing 24/7. And the water that we gave it was a super mineralized water that had polar mins in it. These plants, they did astoundingly better. So here's the experiment that you can find out that all of these things matter. One, gets a pot and put some rice in it, just white rice, and bring it to a boil and cook some rice, okay? Then get some mason jars, which you can put the twist tops on. They can be big jars, they can be little jars, it doesn't matter. But put them through the washing machine so that they go through the sanitizer, so that they're the lids and the jars, so that you sterilize the jars and get 3 jars. And what you do is get your hot rice ready and take your hot rice and then put equal amounts with the same spoon, equal amounts of cooked rice into jar number 1, which is so jar 1 is, we're going to put this rice. Jar 2, we're going to put this rice, and then seal it up and close it up. 3 equal jars with the same conditions, which is the same sterilized rice and the same sterilized environment. Then you can put them on the counter in your kitchen, or you can put them in a room, or you can put them in separate rooms, doesn't matter. Most people, you want them in the same environment, so you want them right next to each other, okay? In the same room, so that they have the same air conditions, so that they have the same temperature, so that you can't see what happens differently in them and go, well, it's because you did something different. No, you did the same exact thing. The only thing that you're going to do different between these 3 jars is jar number 1, you're going to every day look at it, and either it's your choice. You got 3 things you could do. 1, you can do this verbally, or mentally, or you can do it with words where you can write on it. So 1 would be verbally, where you look at that jar and you say, I hate you, okay? Or think it, I hate you. Or whatever is your estimation of bad words, okay? So think bad thoughts to it, like abuse it, okay? Then jar number 2, you ignore it. Don't do anything. So like I said, go to jar number 1. You got your choice of saying negative things to it. You can think negative things to it, or you can write negative things on it. So draw a bad picture or draw the words "I hate you" or something like that. Something like a curse word or something like that. Your middle jar, you do nothing to. You ignore it. And so that means you don't think at it, you don't talk to it. And if you put a piece of paper on it, just put a piece of paper that's blank. Okay? Now, the third one is you're going to give it positive. So if you choose to say words, you're going to say, "I love you," or you're going to praise it like you would a puppy. Good puppy, give it positive, give it affection. If it's thoughts, then give it good thoughts. Okay? And if it's words, then write good words. Write, a heart on it, or "I love you," or draw a picture on it, whatever you want to do. But do the same thing for each one of them, right? So if it's all word, then it's all words. If it's all thoughts, then it's all thoughts. And what you will see is that each jar grows a different thing. But it's the same rice, it's the same conditions. And you'll notice that the one that has the negative, has the hate in it, will turn into this just black goo, putrid and gross looking, looks scary. The middle one will still be kind of scary looking, but not as scary, right? It will be moldy and but not the same as the dark. Stuff grows in it, but now the third one, you will notice that there's other stuff first of all, it doesn't grow as fast. It takes a lot longer for the stuff to grow in it, but it's kind of like a white fuzz, and it actually looks like you could even eat it. It doesn't look horrible. It doesn't look scary. It doesn't look black. It doesn't look poison. It looks, fermented, and quite frankly, it takes a lot longer. So what you'll notice is that the three things grow different things based upon not what you put into it, because you put the same things in it from the very beginning. It's what you put into it on an energetic field. And so what's happening is it's what's the rice? This is the water that's inside the rice, and the water is spinning at either a coherent energy or a decoherent energy, or somewhere in the middle, which is not so great, but not so horrible. This bad stuff, it's spinning at like a decoherent energy, which literally means it's like death. It's evil. It is literally just going the way of darkness. The neglected one, it's still sick. It's sick, but it's just neglected. Whereas the happy one, it's happy. And you probably could eat it and probably wouldn't hurt you at all. Don't try it. Don't try it. But it'd be interesting for a scientist to then take these things and culture them, because you could put them in a petri dish and see what you grow, and you'll see that it's completely different. And it doesn't make sense, because in a scientific world, the same petri dishes should have the same exact stuff grow in them, because it only grows what you put in it. So if you put identical things and made sure that they were each sterilized and the jars were the same and they are in the same environment, there's no physical reason why they should grow different things. They shouldn't. They should all grow the same thing. Either grow nothing or all the same thing. And you can do this over and over again, and you can see that what happens is you grow different. So thoughts and words grow. Okay. So we went to water in terms of how do you experiment with water. Now let's go to the next step and start experimenting with food. Okay, so if you're used to just eating regular Joe Schmo American, one of the things I suggest you start experimenting with is to start taking out the things that are known poisons to many people. The number one top poison that can be a poison to many people is the glyphosate, which is in wheat products and other grains like that. That's the Monsanto. That's the Roundup stuff. It's just saturated it. And it's a poison to all living beings. Some are more sensitive to it than the other, and they feel it. So the first thing you should start doing if you want to start experimenting with food is go gluten-free for a while and really do it perfectly. The next thing you could start, and see how you feel. The next thing you could start changing is some people can do dairy. You can eliminate dairy. Take all dairy out for a while and see if you are less snotty, if you have less mucus, if you have less sinus problems, if you have less... What are the things that you're going to find if you have eliminated a poison in your diet? What's going to feel better? Your hygiene, you're going to have less pain. You're going to have more mobility. You'll notice that in your joints. If you have a poison in your food that you have eliminated, your thoughts are better, your memory's better, your energy levels are better in terms of you just have more energy. You don't feel so tired all the time. Then there's a couple other things that we can do with food. We did the gluten, we did the dairy. Let me think about this 1 second. Because there's a lot of stuff you can do, and I just want to try. Let's just start with those. Start with gluten and dairy, and take those out for a while. Oh, okay, here's the other thing, okay? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. So not everybody reacts to carbohydrates. So this keto diet, is there something to it? Yeah, there is for many, many people. But again, there really isn't any great tests. Your doctor won't tell you about it. Oh yeah, Katie said soy, peanut, corn. Yes, those are some of the other types of poisons. So if you really want to go gangbusters about it and do kind of, let's say, a cleanse diet, which is just eliminate all of the known type of stressors, one would be wheat, dairy, soy, corn, and then, like I said, the other one is carbohydrates, which is either eliminate carbohydrates, so don't eat any carbs at all for a couple days, or just definitely don't eat carbohydrates for breakfast. Have only protein and fat for breakfast, and maybe some non-carbohydrate vegetables if you need more to eat. If a little bit of a breakfast is not enough and you need to have some more to stick to your ribs, then you can nightshades. Kristen, nightshades. So I'll ask about, nightshades. Yes. Okay, nightshades. Here's one of the other things. Now, nightshades are a little bit more exotic. It's really rare that you'll find more people feel better by eliminating the gluten and the soy and the corn and that other stuff. Peanuts. Well, that's what Katie said, peanuts. Yes, peanuts, because peanuts can contain, so even peanut butter, they can contain a lot of aflatoxins, okay? So if we've done all of these things and we're still having some problems that might be dietarily linked, one of the things that are the exotic things that may be affecting people are nightshades. Now, if you remember from your history, the reason that we didn't eat tomatoes, that the ancient people or the people from what would it be, like the Middle Ages, didn't eat tomatoes is because red was poison and red was bad. And red is a nightshade, which is in one of the nightshades is mandrake root. And mandrake root could be made to turn into a potion, to make a sleeping potion or this other stuff. It's, what witches brew in there. Boiling bubble, It's these nightshade families. So what's also in a nightshade family? Tobacco. Tobacco is one of the nightshades. And so tobacco, which makes nicotine. Nicotine is a very powerful drug. It's in the nightshade family. So what are the nightshade family? It is tomatoes. So anything in the tomato family, which is tobacco is related to tomatoes, eggplant, peppers. So anything in the hot peppers, which would be cayenne pepper, jalapeno pepper, paprika. A lot of times I know a friend that's extremely sensitive to nightshades. And there's so many dishes that when you go out to a restaurant or anywhere that has hints of paprika. In fact, they'll use paprika just for coloring. But it reacts to her and her guts get all swollen up and everything like that. So she learned about taking out the nightshades. Nightshades are also potatoes. So white potatoes. Sweet potatoes are not in the nightshade family, I don't believe. But again, it's better safe than sorry. Which is take all the potatoes. Potatoes, tomatoes, and peppers. Now the peppers, there's tough because there's a lot of stuff that's in a lot of spices that has peppers. I'm suggesting do these things as experiments, which is you got a long life, take some time and figure out what works for you. So take some time I've done all of these things and I know what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I know that what didn't used to work for me horribly now still doesn't work for me, but not so bad because I've cleaned my body up and I fixed my immune system and I fixed my gut. So literally I can have the gluten without having as many problems. It still causes problems. I'm not getting off scot-free on that one, that's for sure. Dairy used to be more of a problem. Yeah, dairy works good for me. In fact, I crave dairy now more than I did before. And it works for me. I don't get bloating from it. So how do you know you have a reaction? So once you take these things out, then you can put them back in and you will immediately have a reaction within the first couple bites or within that day. What are the reactions? What do you know that's a good hint of a reaction? You start eating something, then you start coughing. Okay? You start eating something and you start getting sniffly and you literally, your nose starts running, your eyes start watering, you start to get itchy, you get bloated in the belly, you start to feel, literally we'll watch it grow like a balloon. The eyes get watery, these types of things. Those are a food reaction. So many times when people will get that tickle in their throat, they didn't associate it with what they just ate. They didn't put two and two together. But many times, 2 and 2 goes together, and that's what a reaction is you're having either a histamine reaction or something like that to what you just ate. So taking it out and then start putting things back in, then you know how you are reacting. And now there's no doubt about it. Oh yeah, no, totally. It's that. And now I notice like there's other things, like now we get higher on the list, more exotic stuff. There can be oils. So any of the extracted oils can go rancid. So for instance, olive oil, olive oil is good and that's an Italian restaurant and they cook with, you have no idea what olive oil they bought. In fact, there's tons of olive oils in this country that they say they're olive oil and it says it's pure olive oil. It's not. It's mixed with cheap, crappy oils. And you don't know how old those oils are. And those oils, when they sit on the shelf, they get exposed to light and they get exposed to oxygen, they rancidify. And rancid oil is a poison. Rancid oil, so old oil, like old potato chips, stale old potato chips that have been fried in oil. You know, you'll start eating them and then you'll start sneezing. You'll start getting snotty. You could have people that have all kinds of reactions and they go, it's the oil. Because the oil can be, as it breaks down, it can turn into a toxin. So these are all about experimenting with, thoughts, breathing, water, food. Now let's look at exercises, movements, okay? Most people are used to just moving every day and just kind of going about their business. Unless they're exercising, they're not really trying different things. I'm going to give you some simple things, which is movement. So what movement are we doing? So if you're going to the gym, you're going to walk to the gym. If you're going to work, you're going to walk to your car and get in your car. Walking. We do standing up and walking all the time. And so can we turn my walking into an experiment? Yes, you can, which is most people, if you notice they're walking, you look at their side, I see my side from the neck and my head's more forward, but I work on it. Oftentimes you'll see me, if you are seeing me out in public, you'll see me, and you can see my chin does this, but that's because my neck is still kind of messed up. Eventually, I'll go back to the position and it'll elongate, and this, what you would call like the double chin, will go away. Because the reason for the double chin like this is because my head is squished. My neck is all tucked in. I'm just like most of you people, which if you saw me 10 years ago, my head was so forward all the time. I had this forward head posture, right? But I've been working on it. And so one of the things that you can work on is when you're walking, work on your posture. Work on being aware of your posture. And the best thing is get your head back. Try and make your head as tall, make yourself as tall as you can. And then, so as you bring your head back, here, let me show you here. It's a couple different things, which is the things that I like to do, which is, okay, let me pull my pants up a little bit better. Okay, what you'll notice is to see my head is forward, okay? So where should the head be? I can't see myself, but the ear should be lined up with, so if we took like a line and we saw a person with perfect posture, you took what's called a plumb line, which is the line that hangs from the ceiling. And you would see that perfect posture is ear lines up with the circle of your shoulder, which lines up with the circle of your hip, which lines up with the circle of your knee, which lines up with the circle of your ankle. And the ear is lined up with your ankle. And that's perfect posture. But see, it's about tucking the head back in, and all of this stuff has to change. Now we also have what's going on with the hips. A lot of times you'll see the hips are back or sway back, or you'll see it's kind of like this. So what you want to do is you want to practice walking where your head is as straight as you can get it, and then also you're kind of pull your belly forward, kind of pull this forward, because a lot of times you'll see it's like this. You pull it forward, and when you're walking, first of all, the correct posture for this is, most people, the reason their head is down is because they're looking at their feet. They're looking at the ground down here. So your head goes where your eyes go. So just change where your eyes go. And so instead of your eyes being 3 feet in front of you or 6 feet in front of you, put your eyes so that you're looking about 100 yards or at least 10 feet in front of you, which means your eyes are out this way, which automatically brings your head up. And so you're looking out at the horizon, and you're walking out, trying to walk every step where you are looking at the horizon. And then you'll notice too that what you also want to do is do this experiment where you feel, don't squint your butt cheeks, but tuck your belly so that you literally feel like there's a string pulling you, like it's pulling you from here. Like instead of like a lot of times when we got this forward head posture, it's as if the string is pulling us from our chest. So if you move the string down here, it automatically straightens you up. Literally, it's the hips walk forward, and then it makes you stand more upright. So this is tucking the head back, making sure, get my head up, instead of looking down, get my eyes up in front of me, and then also feel like I'm being pulled by a string that's coming from just below my belly button. What that does is that practice puts you in perfect posture, and you notice your head comes back, and many people will notice. Now, sometimes you'll notice that it makes your neck hurt because you've been used to having such a certain posture for a while that it's stretching some things, and literally it's like an exercise that you come home going, ooh, boy, that really hurt my muscles. Or like when you do your, on the treadmill and your quads start to hurt. You'll notice that the muscles back here will start to hurt because they're very weak and they've not been, those are the ones that bring the head back, okay? So you'll notice how a little bit of just did it for, I tried to think about it for 15 minutes. I only did it a couple minutes at a time, and then I noticed myself and I brought my head back. But you'll notice that like, oh my God, like that really was like a workout, and you're starting to build those muscles. But the other thing, so not only what's the first thing you would notice is maybe a little bit of soreness. But the other thing you'll start to notice is your head starts to clear up. Literally, you feel like you have more energy. Literally, like your thoughts start to clear up, meaning you have short-term memory better, because as your head goes forward, it literally starts to pinch on the pipe, and your brain can't communicate with your body as well. Your brain is not working as the way that it should, because also your brain has to get blood from your heart. It has to go up here. And so as it goes forward, it starts to pinch on the pipe, and you're getting less blood flow, less oxygen. So by putting your head back and getting more posture, literally my brain is able to breathe like it didn't before, and I'm able to send more oxygen and clean more junk out of it and make, like, can I optimize my brain? Yes, posture can optimize your brain, and you'll notice it as you start getting better posture that you start to think faster. You're also not as prone towards emotional upset. You're more stable. You're not such a hair trigger. Easily offended, easily, anger. A lot of this stuff, what we would call personality disorders, can be physiologically, your brain is starving because it's just not getting enough oxygen. Can you talk about Byron Katie and the work and how it can help you to change negative feelings? Yes, and you put more there, but I can't see it right here. Like, comment. Yes. So let me go back over a couple of ones. I got some other ones, and let's go. So there, nightshades. Yeah, we dealt with the nightshades. Okay. Lacking MSM. MSM, which is called methylsulfonylmethane. Yes, there are many people that can be lacking MSM, but MSM tends to be a little bit one of the more exotic ones. Now, people can get MSM by growing your own food. Okay, so where does MSM come from? MSM is called methylsulfonylmethane. It's important to all life, is what's called the methyl groups. We have to have methyl groups of all of our cells. And so we have to have a certain amount of methyl groups in order for our cells to work correctly. So methylsulfonylmethane is literally, it's a powder that comes from the atmosphere. It's one of the things that when seawater evaporates and goes up with the clouds, it brings water with it, but it also brings this MSM up in it. And what happens is not only does the dew and the rain fall on the vegetables, but also you get Carol's question on bone broth. And okay, thank you. Hold on. That's the one I was missing. Okay, live. Thank you. You reminded me of what that question was, and I'll get to that one. So let me go back to what I was just talking about, which is methylsulfonylmethane is a powder that is literally dusts all the plants all over the planet that we live. So you don't have to live by the sea. You have to live by the sea in order to get iodine from your vegetables. Iodine comes from the seawater, and so unless we take iodine as a supplement, especially in Michigan, we're lacking iodine. And because we only have fresh water around us, there's no seawater. So unless you're taking some seaweed or supplement, kelp or something like that has seaweed in it, you're not getting natural forms of iodine. Okay, now let's go back to the methylsulfonylmethane, which is, it's something that falls down on your plants. And so typically people in the past had a lot higher levels of MSM in their body because they were eating fresh vegetables and they weren't washing the vegetables like we're told we should. If you grow your own food, you literally are out there picking things and eating them without washing them because you grew it yourself and you're like, I'm not going to get sick, like it's not poison and it doesn't have dirt on it, and you just kind of dust it off and pop it in your mouth and eat it. That's one of the things that I do when we're out there. And the broccoli, while you wait for the broccoli to grow into a broccoli to harvest, it makes all these little leaves and you eat broccoli leaves. We've been doing, oh my God, this is genius. So everyone's had like the kale chips. My favorite kale chips in the world are the ones that come from the Zen, the Zen Buddhist monastery in Hamtramck. They make a kale chips that have like, their mixture has tahini and tamari and lemon juice and leeks and nutritional yeast flakes and a couple other things, and then they mix it in together, and then they mix that on their kale leaves, and then they put the kale leaves in the dehydrator. And it is if you've ever had kale chips before, these are the best kale chips. Well, what we started doing is, instead of kale, this is our leftover leaves, which is, we've been making broccoli chips with this recipe on it. Broccoli chips, beet chips, the beet greens, the excess beet greens, we've been putting that recipe on it and putting it in the dehydrator. It's better than the kale chips. As good as the kale chips are, oh my God, the broccoli chips are just amazing. They are so good. So much magnesium in them. I'm going to give you a little, I'm going to rat myself out, which is, if you get too much magnesium, you will have the runs. You'll have the squirts. Be careful. And I ate too many kale chips or broccoli chips one day, and it was like I ate a whole bag, and it was so awesome. But I had an accident. Be careful, because it will go right through you like a goose, man. And that means that it had so much magnesium in it. So again, prefer to get your foods, a little too neat TMI, sorry. But going back to the how are you ever going to eat vegetables that have not been washed? Everything that goes to the store has to be washed because it's legal. All right, well, start growing some of your own stuff. You get a little porch and grow some broccoli leaves and and just pick the leaves off and start eating them, or pick them off and dust them off and put them in your salad and make a salad out of that. you're getting natural MSM. MSM is for about cell permeability. They've noticed that MSM is something that if you have pain, they have some different pain creams that have MSM in it, and it actually delivers the pain relieving thing deep into the cellular structure, pulls it deep into the cartilage because it's able to permeate through the cellular membrane, whereas nothing else will get through. MSM acts as a carrier agent in bringing nutrients. So people that use it as like a supplement is because they're deficient in it. But we originally had this in our diet. When we lived in the old world and we ate what we gathered and hunter-gatherers, you were eating MSM all the time because it was a powder that came down and rained down on everything, and you ate it. So there's a big part of us modern disease things because we're just, we're not living the ways that we should. Now let's go back to the question that Carol had, which is bone broth and inflammation. Yes, how can bone broth heal inflammation? How is bone broth part of, let's say, nourishing traditions like the Western Price Institute that found that fat, and especially butter fat, has been one of the things that's been successful over the people that have the best dental health in the world, the best minerals in the world, the strongest bodies, the best neurologic systems are people that literally have the right minerals in their soil, but also have a good amount of dairy. So there's some people that can handle dairy and it's really, really good for them. But their dairy is different than our dairy. We're talking about like the Nigerians, the Africans, the people in Haiti, third world people that are milking their own cow or goat or getting the fresh raw milk from down the street from the cows. That's the dairy we're talking about. The super grass-fed, wonderful dairy. Super nutrient dense. Not this crap that's half of it in America. A good portion of the milk that you get actually has pus in it. It's been shown it's gross, it's horrible, right? And it's pus because these are sick animals, and they have many times they'll milk the cows because it's a factory and they have mastitis and they have an infected teat, and then it will just milk, whereas a farmer, he'll look at it when he's able to look at it and go, not that one, leave that one alone. Milk all the other ones, leave that one alone. Don't let the poison get mixed into that. This is the best milk we can get. And so, the old ways where you can pay attention to it, you're going to get the best. So inflammation. Okay, let's talk about inflammation of your elbow. Let's say I have cartilage that's breaking down because I have arthritis, okay? Is it all right here? No, because first of all, if it ever is all anywhere, including the brain, where is it all? If there's any one place where it's all here. It's all in the gut. The brain is in the gut. The inflammation is in the gut. So your elbow, how would I treat my elbow? You treat the gut. How would I treat my brain? You treat the gut. So one of the things about bone broth is if you saw the inside of your pipes where you eat, so this is, let's say, your small intestine, okay? Let's imagine it's a pipe, right? Your mouth is a hole, and it goes down your esophagus, and it goes down a tube, and then that tube then turns into your stomach, which then turns into another tube, which is the what's called the J pouch of the duodenum, and then it goes through and it snakes around your small intestine, and it's about a diameter about that big. It's a tube, and then it goes in and it empties into the large intestine, which gets to be about a tube that's that big inside your body at its biggest point, and then it narrows back down into your colon is about that big, and then your rectum is about that big, and then you get to your anus, which is tiny little pucker hole right there, okay? So then that's what pinches off when poop comes out. So we have these pipes that are inside of us. Now the pipes, so when you eat food, okay, I'm going to look at this at the pipe again, right? So the camera right here. So this is the pipe. We're looking inside the pipe. Food goes in the pipe, right? Now, but all of my cells, my heart is out of here. my lungs are out of here. So the food that's in the pipe has to go through the walls of the pipe to then secrete into the body. We have to absorb the nutrients. It has to go from here, and then it's got to get into the neighborhood. It's got to go into tiny little trucks. It's got to go from this big thing, and then what your body keeps as nutrients, then it's to get delivered through the bloodstream. So these pipes, all along the inside of these pipes is blood vessels. Now, if we see inside of the pipes of the small intestine, they have what's called villi, which is, it's not a smooth pipe. This one's a smooth pipe, this one's a smooth pipe, but once we get down into inside the intestines, it's what's called, they look like fingers. And as the food comes along, it is able to go up all along all of these different fingers, because at these fingers, if you zoom into inside of one of these fingers, you've got blood vessels that go to each one of the outside and touches the outside, because on the inside of these fingers, keep in mind this is inside the tubes, it goes directly into your bloodstream. So the food that is chewed up and turned into like a juice then soaks into and coats these little fingers, and you have all these, they look like little sea anemones, right? Because it increases the surface area. Instead of a flat area, it's all of these, now you got all of these, like going up and down the highways, it takes you forever. Going up and down the mountains, 5 miles can take you 2 days if you go up and down and up and down and up and down. So these finger-like projections are the bloodstream that to get the food into. Now, the pipe, the inside of the pipe, as well as the finger-like projections, they're just like the outside of your body. It's a tissue, it's a skin. It's a skin that's what the inside lining of your pipe is. The thing about your alimentary canal is this skin is too dry. It's not wet. So mucosal membranes, like the inside of your mouth, the inside of your nose, your eye is wet. You go inside, like you're wet on the inside. It's this wet material. It's what's called a mucosal membrane. Okay? So now getting back to bone broth. Bone broth is extracting collagen and other materials, but in particular collagen, that's what that soft, weepy, wet tissue is. That's what the mucosal membranes are made out of, is that type of material. So most inflammation, if you see inflammation in the elbow or inflammation in the brain, if you could zoom in and see inside your pipes, you're going to notice that your pipes are irritated. Any inflammation in the body, you're going to find that the inside of a person's pipes are irritated. It's like a sunburn, and you're tearing apart at the insides. So one of the reasons that we have inflammation in the body is because who came first, the chicken or the egg? Inflammation happened here first, and then the rest of the body broke down, okay? So bone broth is one of these things that we are able to drink this collagen that's been extracted from animal bones, and we are able to extract these nutrients, and it provides healing. So gelatin is this. Gelatin, which if you remember, you can make Jell-O because Jell-O tastes nice and it's sweet, but you can also make gelatin that back in the day it was for your hair and nails. Remember, if you ever had your nails done back in the 50s, you would soak your fingers in this stuff, and it was a gelatin. And then they would also say, make sure you take your knot. If you notice your fingernails are getting brittle, if you notice your hair is getting thin, if you notice you're getting wrinkles, take the Knox gelatin. Well, what is gelatin? It literally comes from the horse factory, or just like glue, almond glue, comes from the horse factory, and it's boiled down hoofs and body parts and skin from the factory process of making meat. So all of these waste products that they would normally throw out, they're not thrown out. They're boiled down, and then we extract, and they are also purified because it's gone through such a high heat process that there's no poisons left in it, and then it's highly purified and highly concentrated, and it's a very specific nutrient that if you rebuild your gut, you will help your elbow. The inflammation will start to go down and the pain will start to go away. So rather than just rubbing the cream on it or getting the elbow surgery or something like that, or hip surgery, if you get on it soon enough, you rebuild the gut, you will fix all body inflammation. Now, remember I was saying about the nourishing traditions is what they found out is that the people that had the longest living people and the healthiest people had the lowest amount of inflammation in their body. Now, part of it is because not only did they eat all of the homegrown foods and stuff like that, but they also ate the grass-fed meats. They also had the good dairy. They were omnivorians. They are omnivorians, but it's how well was this stuff grown. And also, traditionally, people in the world, we are the only ones that don't eat the way we used to. Most people still eat the way you used to. Look at any of the Chinese, the Koreans, they eat their chicken feet, they suck on the chicken feet, they do their neck bones, they do their, oxtail soup. Every indigenous culture has some form of what they would call snout to tail, which is now just kind of coming back in vogue. They ate all of the organs, but they also ate not because they were poor. People go, well, they eat those junk meats because they were poor. No, that's a lie. That's a lie that the elites told you. That's why you should eat the chicken breast because only the rich kings eat the chicken breast. Well, guess what? The kings are dying have always died from what's called the king's diseases because they eat too rich of meat and they eat only the white meat and they don't eat any of the cartilaginous stuff and they die debilitating, horrible deaths of pain and all these things because they're so rich they don't have to eat this crap food. That's stupid. That's poor in mind and poor in spirit. You may have all of the riches to eat only the choice meats, but your body will fall apart because you're not replacing. So whereas the peasants that eat this stuff, they're going to outlive you. They're going to be happy you, and they're going to outthink you. They will fix this. So if you want to have the best of both worlds, which is have all of the riches and and have a body that works for you, then use the old ways. And it's staring us right in front of our face, which is it's as simple as that. Just go back to the old ways. Learn how to start experimenting with foods. Learn how to start eating these things. And again, if you're like, I'm never going to eat a chicken foot, nope, you can't get it, then go to the store and get some collagen. Go to the store and start making some bone broth. Dr. Axe makes a good one. It's a powder. It's still not as good as you can make yourself. It's still not as good as you can grow yourself, but in a pinch it will work. But it will give you enough to, ideally, you'll be able to start doing. I have my own farm. I grow my own animals. I grow my own food, and I do this. And I have a family that we support this together, and we work together, and it's changed my life, and it can change yours too. But you are not strong enough. You don't have enough system together to do the whole shebang. You can't move to the farm right now. So start small and start where it matters. But I'm telling you, this question about how can bone broth help body-wide inflammation, is that just a hoax? No, I'm telling you the scientific mechanisms of how it works is it first fixes the gut. Then it's also, that's what your cartilage is made out of. It's made out of those same tissues. And so you can literally extract it inside the gut and it can go right to every part of your body that it needs to. Alan Ott, I love you too. I've been loving the stuff that you've been doing. Alan Ott on YouTube. I think he's also on Facebook too. He's been doing some great work. And Alan, you've been seeing the stuff that's been happening. The world is changing. So that's the other thing I want to address. It's if you're afraid, if you're seeing this stuff that's going on in the news, it's not what you think it is. This is glorious, wonderful time. Sometimes it has to get dark before you see that you got to turn the light on, that you have to do the work. If it's about bringing somebody to justice, they're not going to do it. You have to do it. And by the time you get around to it, you don't even care about doing justice anymore, because the true justice is just stop being weak. Because the only way that anyone has any power over you of slavery or corruption or all this other stuff is because you're just too weak to do anything about it. And you're also too weak to observe it. So observing it is the biggest thing, which is, first of all, see it. First of all, see that this is all mind control. First of all, see that this world of like I said, of Western, the doctor said this was bad. The scientist said that this was bad. They said that this was good. Take almost all of it and turn it upside down. It's completely reverse. But forget about even taking their word for it. Discover it for yourself. Start doing and start living for yourself and start getting your health back for yourself. And it's as simple as it's in your backyard. Here's another thing that people can do. Like in any state in America, there's a plant out there that's called plantain. Plantain is a weed. It grows everywhere. Go on Google and type in plantain and see what it looks like. Just go to the images and it'll show you a picture. You'll find it growing out there with the weeds along with dandelion. Here's what you do with plantain is if you ever get a mosquito bite or if you ever get a bee sting. So start with a mosquito bite, okay? Mosquito bites, they itch, okay? As soon as you get a mosquito bite, or let's say you get like say a bee sting, go out and find some plantain, and you can use any part, but let's start with the leaf, okay? Take the leaf, take one leaf or one big leaf or a couple of the little leaves and chew on it. And chew it up and mix it with your saliva and chew it into like a paste. And then you take that paste and you spit it out and then you put it on that wound. And if you want to just let it sit there or if you want to put a Band-Aid and tape it on, I guarantee you will be blown away as to how fast the sting goes away, how fast the shrinking goes away. You can have a person that like it's gotten stung by a bee and it lasts like, I got stung in my knuckle before and like that's a bad place. Like it hurts for days. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. You put that plantain on it and literally in minutes the pain is going away and within that day it's fully healed. The bee sting, within that day, it's fully healed. Within that day, that mosquito bite is gone. Better than the calamine, better than the Caladril, better than all of these, the pink stuff. It's out there, it's a weed. Plantain, you can also put it on your lettuce. Mix some, what are some of the things? Excuse me, there are more, hold on one second, I'm gonna drink. Going back to what can we do with foods? Everyone should be eating vegetables, right? Eat your salad, okay? You can't grow salad or so all of the salad greens, and I don't care where you go and get them, if you get them from the farmer or anything, they're nowhere near as good in terms of nutrient density. The amount of nutrients, it's thousands of times more in a weed. So I start identifying some of the weeds. Literally, you can go out and find dandelion leaves, and the big ones tend to be bitter, but it's no worse than arugula. Like in a nice, your high cost salad is going to have these little bitter greens in it. Get your regular salad, and then get some dandelion leaves. Get some plantain leaves. Started going on Google and looking at like purslane. That's another weed that grows out there. There's tons of weeds that grow out there that are edible, that literally you just put them up in your salad and yes, they taste a little bit bitter, but mixed with you're normally a good salad, a high-priced, microgreen salad is going to have endive and radicchio and what's the other one? I forget, the bitter ones, okay? You spend a lot of money on those. You can get them for free out in your backyard. And that little bitter one that you found out there oh wow, this salad tastes really good. Those little leaves are the bitter ones that are the dandelion or all of these other herbs or weeds are literally thousands of times more of any of the nutrient you could possibly, more magnesium, more vitamin C, more of the minerals, they are super power packed. And we can, just by adding a few leaves in them to your diet every day, you literally can just bump your health up like crazy because you're just adding more of these nutrients. Carol said, so a 3-day fast will help. Should I add gelatin? Oh, okay. So going back to her question, which is, she was talking about not just using bone broth, but using bone broth as a fast. meaning you can do a juice fast, which is I don't eat any foods, but I do juice. You can do a water fast, which I don't eat any foods, but I drink water. Or you could do a water and bone broth fast, meaning it's a nutrient, you're adding nutrients in, but it's a good nutrient and it's a non-caloric, so you're not going to gain any weight from it. It's really, but it feeds the body as you are fasting. Yes, for inflammation, that would be astoundingly well, which is you could do a 1-day fast on bone broth and water. She said, should I add gelatin? No, you shouldn't need to, because if you're not eating any foods and you're just doing a glass of water here and then a glass of some bone broth, you don't really need to add anything extra. And so I would do probably 2/3 water and 1/3 bone broth on all you consume throughout the day. How much bone broth could you consume on a fast? A jar about that big, right? Like maybe 12 to 20 ounces or something like that. That would be a lot. I would say probably closer to 12 to 20 ounces. The rest you're going to do water. So if you're going to do a water fast, you probably should be doing the equivalent of liquid should be about a gallon of fluid a day. So if you're doing a water fast, it would be about a gallon of water. If you're going to do a juice fast, it would be probably about 2 quarts of juice plus some water, diluted. Dilute your juice if you're going to do a juice fast. If it's going to be a gelatin or bone broth fast, it would be probably about 2/3 water and 1/3 of the bone broth. Because you don't want to do bone broth. That's the only thing. You want to have water and bone broth. No, you don't need to add gelatin. Here's that. Let me see if I missed anyone. Live chat. Yeah, I've not seen anyone on the live chat here on YouTube. I'm definitely getting more responses on the Facebook than I am on the YouTube. I might be not getting comments, so I might have missed it, but this one seems to be working better. But I'm still going to do both. I'm going to do them both at the same time, and so that you can see me either way. Let me go back over another one. Okay. So then that brings up another thing, which is people go, okay, should we eat meat? Should we not eat meat? Should we do the vegan diet? Should we not eat animals? Because that's bad energy. We're killing things you're killing a carrot too. I just killed millions of things by breathing. We live in an environment where life lives off of death. You can't do anything about it. That's what it is here. And so if you think that you're not killing something by eating vegetables, you are. It's different levels of different energetic frequencies in terms of consciousness. It's all conscious, okay? And it doesn't mind. Now, what does make a difference in terms of, let's say, animals, do you torture it, okay? Do you torture the cow before you eat it? Do you torture the carrot before you eat it? Most people don't torture the carrot. Most people just kind of harvest it, and that's not really, so they don't consider that torture. But if you go to factory farming and stuff like that, absolutely, there's a bunch of torture that goes on. It's horrible. So, is there a way to do that? Yeah, there's better meats. So I'll tell you one meat in terms of the one thing that the Muslims have right is that halal meat. The halal meat is it's raised in a certain way and it's slaughtered in a certain way. And it's humane. I guarantee you it's not as humane as I do it in terms of loving and respectful and necessary. And also it's not that I don't feel, that I feel bad. I feel it. And I put my attention to it. But I also recognize this flesh and blood thing. And I've seen it go both ways. I've seen people who were healed by doing the vegan and a plant-based diet and stayed that way because that's what their body was designed to do. I've seen people heal their body by doing a carnivore, by really going towards meats and a heavy ketogenic diet and lots of meat. I've seen people do both. I've seen them for a while do this, and then I've seen the vegan people works for them for a while, and then they keep it up too long, and then their body falls apart. Okay, and then it just doesn't work for them anymore. And then they get too weak, and then they get too spacey, and then they get too far out, and they lose touch, and they're weak. And so for them, I've seen people where you put them back on meat. Okay, now you can have people that have done some vegan stuff, and it's like they are affected by the torture. They're affected by the energy that goes into it. So for those people, if you are concerned about it, then find a better meat. Find a farm that you can see the cow or see the sheep or see the chicken, and then verify with them in terms of how did you slaughter it? What was the slaughtering process, right? And I guarantee you can find those out there that will do it the way that you want it to be done. We'll raise it and we'll process it the way that you want it to be done, which is respectful, but yet not torture. And you will find that your body feels it. Your body feels better for it. And you will get sick from tortured meat. People get sick from tortured meat. It's not that we all just get sick from meat. Some people can get sick. Some people get sick from doing just pure vegetables. There is no cookie cutter that fixes everybody, and nobody's ever the same way forever. We change. We adapt and we change. So the real secret is finding out who you are and where you are and what works for you right now. That's why, going back to the very beginning, Katie, my wife, says, I really like, she's like, you're really good. You're able to link all these, you got all these things, but you then come back around. And she said, I've seen all kinds of people that are scattered all over the place, but you bring it back around. I do. I remember what I'm saying. And so bringing back to start experimenting with what you do with your body so that you can then go, I don't care what they told me. I don't care what they didn't tell me. I found it for myself. And once I found it, it's just that give a man a fish or teach him to fish. Learn how to fish your body. Learn how to experiment with your body. Because the whole point is that if you get a diet from somebody and it works and it fixes your body, but it's something they gave to you and you rely upon them, I guarantee you there will be years later where it will stop working and it will go the other way. Okay? That doesn't make sense. So if it was perfect, why wasn't it perfect forever? Because you change. So the true perfection is attention, is instinct. If you wake up your instinct, then you will always know when it turns. You will always be able to feel it. You'll be able to see it. You will be able to be attracted to what you need and not attracted to what is poison for you. Because that's the thing is much of this disease that we're living in is we are addicted, and we've become addicted to this reality. But we all can say, it's not good. I'm addicted. I eat too much of this, but I'm addicted to it. And it's too much, but I can't help it because I'm addicted to it. So that means that are there things that are bad, and are there things that are good? Anything can become bad, and anything can become good. There are times. Okay, good example of this. This is not just some new age talk where I'm talking crap. This is real. This is real. If you get bit by a snake, what do they ask you? Bring in a picture or bring in the snake. Because how do they make the venom? They make the venom from that snake. So the poison turns into the antidote. So is the poison always poison? No! The poison in the right concentrations is the thing that turns into, like the spider. Tell us which spider it was, because we're going to give you an anti-venom. Was it a black widow spider? Was it a brown recluse spider? Was it these things? We're going to craft what is the healing thing from a bit of the poison, and nothing else will work. So that right itself tells you that there is a relationship in the world, that it's you that adapt the relationship, how you change it. So there is nothing in this world that's all evil or all good. It's the timing of the thing. And who is the thing that dictates it? It's you. What you need and where you're at, your body, your you. And the separation between my body and me, it's easy to call that a separation, But it's not separate. They're the same things, but they seem so different because I can be thinking one thing and feeling another thing and do this thing, but then have this to show for it. It's very easy to see that there's a disparity, and that shows that we've been divided. We've been divided. Our brain has been divided. Our brain has been split in half. Our eyes have been split in half. We've literally been this side, and split in half. We're male and female, and we're split in half. But we're one, and we're supposed to be one, and we're supposed to have one consciousness, and we're supposed to have one instinct, which is you. Because you are a bit of both. You came from both. You came from your father and mother. You are a bit of the wrong thing and the right thing. You're a bit of, I want to find out the right way, but also you're a bit of like, I want to be the discoverer. What if I'm different? What if it works this way for everyone else? But what if I'm different? What if I'm the only one? You are. You're the only one. You're the only one. And so it stands to reason that you are the one to come up with what's the only thing for you. No one can tell you. I can't even tell you. I'm trying to tell you how to help you figure out you, because I'm helping me to figure out me, and you're helping me to figure out me, but it's me. And so the way that we start figuring this thing out is we start doing experiments. Just like the doctors do experiments in your spare time, and do experiments with what you're doing every day anyways. I'm eating meals every day, I'm breathing air, I'm thinking thoughts, I'm walking steps. Start using these as opportunities to start experimenting with your body and start figuring it out. There is strong and weak. Yes, there is strong and weak, but there's strength in your weakness, and there's weakness in your strength. And many times the answer is, if you've been too strong, you need to become vulnerable again and let yourself be weak so that you can become truthful. And if you've been too weak and it's not cutting it, then you just have to get stronger. And it's not about being sensitive. It's about sometimes the rules are buck up, camper. This is a tough ride we're going through. And sometimes grandma and grandpa say, it's hard, but I know you can do it. Attaboy, attagirl, go get them. Okay? And then sometimes it's the comfort, which is, come stay here with me and let me take care of you. You need to heal. You need to recoup. We need to be able to do this with ourselves. And the answers are hiding right in front of us with our daily, everyday, everything that we do. And that's what I do in my practice, is I bring people in and I do testing on them, and we figure out, and I take them through this process, and everybody gets better. Everybody gets better. It's amazing. That's why I know this is right, because everybody gets better. Maybe not everyone gets 100%, but everyone goes, you know what? After all the people that I've seen, you're the one person that it got better. It got better, noticeably better, and that's all I was looking for. Because now you pointed me on the path, which is, I know I can get better. And that's all I need, man. Boom, I'm off to the races. And I can help you the whole way, or the best way is like, let me help you go on your way. Because you need to figure it out and then start helping other people. And this is, as complicated as it is, it's actually very simple. This is a simple, wonderful life. So this is Jason Eagle, Strategic Healing, your natural health authority. And I'm going to be doing another one. Until next time, love you. Thank you, everybody, for being here and supporting me. And I'll see you again. All right. Bye-bye.